Hello everybody, my name is Red Skies, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the problem with Bitlife. Most importantly, the things that have been going on over the past couple months involving the company, the game, and its fan base. And first, we are going to be taking a little bit of a dive into the history of Bitlife before we get into the problem. Now, in order to understand the history of Bitlife, we must go back to 2017 before Bitlife was even released and take a look at instalife. Instalife was made in 2017 with its first full release being in 2018, and the game pretty much paved the way for all life simulators after it, including Bitlife, which released in the middle of the same year. Now, Bitlife saw huge success very quickly, and the game continued to expand with updates and other things. People also had the option to purchase Bitlife, which allowed players to get special things in the game such as ads being removed, being able to buy from pet stores, dark mode, and more. But the one thing that always stood out to me was the promise of all future content. Now this point will be important for later, but meanwhile Bitlife was still seeing huge success, but there was still one thing that rivaled Bitlife: instalife. And this is when Bitlife decided to take action. During 2019, any person who wanted to install instalife would be greeted by an empty App Store page. And upon further inspection, people would realize that instalife was bought out. But by who? Well, none other than Bitlife. Bitlife, however, presented a solution by saying that all instalife features that weren't in Bitlife would be in Bitlife soon. But this never happened, and instead, no updates came out for a long time. Many people assumed that Bitlife was working on something big, but nobody could imagine the disappointment that was about to come in November of 2021. On November 2nd, 2021, Bitlife released a tweet announcing what they'd been working on, and people couldn't be any more disappointed. It was Dog Life, a copy and paste of Bitlife which just replaced people with dogs. Safe to say, people were mad, and instead of actually responding to the criticism professionally, they would take it upon themselves to insult their player base. Tweets such as this showcase Bitlife's unprofessionalism, but I think anybody with a brain should be able to realize calling a player of your game a bitch is unprofessional. However, people still believed in Bitlife and liked Dog Life. It wasn't a complete copy and paste, as it added features that made the game seem less like a copy and paste, but many people still were disappointed. But an even bigger disappointment would come in 2 months and would almost nail the final nail in Bitlife's coffin. On January 2nd, 2022, Bitlife announced Cat Life, which didn't add any new features and was just a complete copy and paste of Bitlife and Dog Life. This caused massive disappointment, and it seemed that nobody really liked this new game, as apparent to the Google Play Store and App Store reviews. Many people were also mad that they wasted their money. Before Cat Life, there was a purchasable in Dog Life called Top Dog, which was pretty much just Bitlife but for dogs. This purchase allowed players to play as cats as well, and many people bought it just for Bitlife to release a game which allowed you to become a cat. This almost sealed Bitlife's fate as a company, but many people still believed in them. But the final nail in the coffin would arrive in March of 2022. During the month of March in 2022, Bitlife released many teasers hinting at a long-awaited update for Bitlife, and many hints were dropped that this new update would be an actor update. And it seemed as if for the first time in a while, Bitlife was actually listening to its players. And on the day of the update, players would open the app, excited to play the new update. They'd make their character take classes in acting, which were free by the way, in order to prepare for the new feature. They'd open jobs, look at the special careers, and the update that everyone was looking forward to was locked behind a paywall. This enraged many players that were looking forward to the update, and they took to criticizing the company, which again, they didn't listen. However, they announced that this update would be free to any player who bought Bitlife before March 31st, 2020. However, that takes me back to my previous point about Bitlife always stating that players would have access to all future content. This was now an outright lie, which is not only a horrible move, but also a violation of the Apple Store's terms of service. Also, many people who bought Bits and Ship before March 31st, 2020 still stated that they could not access the update, which still Bitlife did nothing about. That takes us to today. Barely anybody is defending Bitlife at this point, and Bitlife's fate has pretty much been sealed. But that takes us to the main question. Why? Why is a great question for this scenario. And many people know exactly why Bitlife started doing this shitty stuff all of a sudden. In order to understand this, let's go back to April of 2020, which is around where all of this started. During this month, Candy Writer, the company which made Bitlife, was bought out by a Stillfront group for $74 million. However, this deal could have went up to $195 million depending on how much Bitlife made. And that's exactly how it started. Bitlife wanted their company to be bought out for more money, so they made more copy and paste games to cash out on as much ads and in-app purchases as they could, and then they made updates locked behind paywalls. It's such a shitty thing to do for a company that many people admired and enjoyed. And now, I'm going to talk about my stance on the issue. Personally, I think these decisions that Bitlife are making are going to drive their company downhill. And calling people who are giving criticism names and banning them from your subreddits is incredibly unprofessional for a company of this magnitude. You hear what your player base is saying, you just choose not to respond to it. You went back on the promise of all future content being free for Bitizens, you broke your player base's trust, which as a company is the worst thing to break. You make a lot of money as it is. Ads from the 3 games combined, Bitizen Ship, Top Dog, Top Cat, and God Mode from all 3 games. Is that not enough for you? Are you in so need of money that you're going to lock updates behind a paywall without warning? And it's not like you're trying to hide your own greediness. There's constant plugs in Bitlife for Dog Life and Cat Life when it's your own game, as well as constant reminders to buy Bitizen Ship and God Mode. I mean, when I bought Bitizen Ship, I thought I wouldn't receive ads anymore, but I guess not. Just look at this. 3 ads over the span of 3 clicks. The smart thing to do would be to make this new thing free and provide the fans that bought it monetary compensation. Because we've been promised these updates for a while, as well as the business update, which we've been promised for 3 years. And now it's confirmed to be locked behind a paywall. I am incredibly disappointed in this company.